City 1051 FM.
Wilfred Monk, some of you know me as the Silent G. Maybe let me take this opportunity to explain the Monk. It's spelled M-O-N-G, M-O-N-G, but the G is silent. So it's pronounced Monk. That's why I call myself the Silent G. So that's out. Of course, I have my colleagues, Damiloju Saliu, the one in glasses. He's a troublesome fellow, by the way. Yeah. And of course, Onome Apio, right there. He's also my colleague. And then there is Faith Oluchi, the under 17 female media officer. That's the national team. Samuel Amadu. Let me call his other name. Oluwagbemi Amadu. Yeah, he writes for Go.com. And of course, Oluwaseun Oyedeji. So we are 7 of us here. Oluwaseun and Chinwe Nasi are our listeners, you know, those core listeners at City. There are lots of them. They represent the Excellent Sports Fans Club. And I really want to appreciate you guys. I know some of you are working, but really appreciate the fact that you had to join this conversation. So, Azizat actually won the league title. That's with Barcelona. And we just got thinking, she has won the African Women Footballer of the Year 4 times, won the African Cup of Nations 3 times, I think. I start to be corrected. Done a lot of things, basically. So we just started wondering, she's just 25 or thereabouts. Is it time, you know, for her to join that conversation if she is one of the greatest in Nigeria so far? But that's just one of the discussions. Yeah, but that will build up to that one. Of course, there are lots of greats that have graced the female game in Nigeria. Why is it that female football in Nigeria is struggling? Let me start with Faith.
Female football struggling in Nigeria. It's not about Nigeria. I mean, Africa as a whole, female football is struggling because those in charge in Africa, CAF, they've not really given women football the kind of attention it requires. You know, when you look at all African countries, how many of them have women league in their various countries? You know, so I think basically let's start from the top there in CAF. They've not given women football the kind of attention it deserves. Then back home in Nigeria, I think we're trying, but we've not gotten there. You know, I think if we can give it the kind of support it deserves, we'll push harder. So women football needs more support as much as we are trying to push harder. But I think the most important thing is to give it a push, the support it deserves, and you will see it rising.
Sammy, obviously, you heard what Faith just said. Female football needs more support in Nigeria, and she specifically mentioned CAF. In other words, probably not just CAF, the NFF, and the rest. But is the onus on these federations or associations she has mentioned alone, or should we focus more on corporate bodies coming in to help female football in Nigeria and by extension Africa?
For me, I think the responsibility is spread across board, and those who should be held responsible, I think, cut across board. Like I did said earlier, you have to. We have a fair share of blame to be spread across. FIFA has theirs, CAF has theirs, and the Nigerian Football Federation too. And at the same time, the stakeholders to involve cannot be left out. They also have a role to play, and they should also have a fair share of the blame. At this point, being fortunate to have Nigeria being one of the front runners in the women's football development across the globe, across Africa. I think everyone expects so much from Nigeria, and not much has really been achieved, especially at the global stage. Yeah, in Africa, we dominate and we still till date, but at the global stage, we haven't really measured up to that standard. But I think back to why things are really not taking shape, I think it starts with FIFA. And understanding the fact that FIFA over the years have really worked hard in creating support, creating funding, a kind of countries, and you know, fundings which include women's football developments, which covers the funding of leagues, national team activity, where it's understandable that a national team at any level, being women, should be able to play a number of friendly games within a calendar year, and that is being supported by FIFA. But unfortunately, that is a funding that is being regulated by FIFA. But again, the implementation of it, especially the statutory allocations given to countries, the member associations across the globe, they have embedded in those appropriations women's football development funds. And in those funds are meant to, in such a way, possibly be injected into the league, the running of the league, and also ensure that the national teams at various levels be involved in international games, quite a number of games, I think probably up to 7, within a calendar year, for them to at least be up to a very competitive level compared to their foreign counterparts across the world. And I think that has really been on for a while, but the implementation across board has been very poor. Not many countries has really been making use of those funds as they have been expected to, because you see, it's just in those situations you see federation will give excuses to what they use the funds for. The funds are often diverted. The funds are not always used for what it's meant for. And you even get to discover in some countries, especially in Africa, based on the checks I've made, some of those funds are ending up being shared among the congressmen, among the executive boards. I can't really tell about what goes on in Nigeria, but I think the excuse given is that some of these funds are also not even enough for them to execute some of their big projects, because they consider the funds from FIFA as funds for major projects in the country, probably building of stadiums, erecting FA offices, and this globs a whole lot of money.
Okay.
Worthing a lot of money. And so in that process, the FIFA Women's Football Development money is already being lumped into those funds. And these are what to get to here, even when they still know they have a lot of sacrifice to make to ensuring that the women's game, gets little support. It hardly comes. And you probably see in the end a few money from just a little chunk of what should have been appropriated, just being released in the end to just say that, yes, the list gets to finish, you get to sort out a few things. At the same time, you just see that the national team hardly get a game to play, and they only have to come together until when they have a tournament to go, or a friendly or international or a qualifier game to play. So I think it's been a major problem, not just Nigeria, it's not particularly Nigeria, it's across broad, it's across the countries in Africa. And so these are areas.
All right, Sam, thank you. You really spoke at length. If this was an examination, you would not collect extra sheets like 3 times. So, but it's all good. All right, but please, Alexa, just try and keep it shorter a little bit, even though fantastic contribution there. Faith, we lost Faith for a while. I actually wanted her to react to some of the things you said, because I was going to ask her if these reasons you've given, they are actually the major reason or one of many reasons that the Super Falcons, despite being dominant in Africa, have only gone through to the knockout stage of the World Cup twice, and also getting to the knockout phase of the Olympics. That's the football event just won. So is it that the expectation is too much on the Falcons, or this is actually what it should be? I'm asking you now, Faith.
Well, the truth is that you can't give what you don't have, and it's not really that we don't have the players. Let's be sincere, we have the players, But I think one of the major reasons why we struggle in the world is I'm looking at the angle of our frequent changing of coaches, I don't think it has really helped us.
Dami, Onome, any of you want to react to some of the things Sam has spoken about? And of course, Faith. Faith also mentioned coaches and frequent changes of coaches, part of the reason we have been struggling. Anybody wants to react on that? Yeah, Dami.
Okay, so I personally think one of the major issues the Falcons have had in international tournaments is the lack of regularity of our league. when you take a look at some of our counterparts abroad, some of the countries that are doing really well, they seem to have their players currently playing in leagues over a period of time. They have their major players not just playing in leagues, but they are also playing in the top leagues for their clubs. You know, there's a way you're always in within the system. When you're playing regularly, there's something it does for you, and then you can translate your club form to what happens in the national team. We've talked about Oshoala briefly already today, and you can see how she's doing really well for herself, even with the clubs that she's signed for. She seems to be hitting ground running wherever she needs to go, and that translates into the national team. We see the performances she brings. So I think, in agreeing with Faith, the fact that we change our coaches regularly, we don't have that stability and continuity in the national team, but also the fact that some of our players do not play as often as they should really hampers our chances in international competitions.
Onome, you're muted.
So I think basically, like Dami said, talking about how the league is not consistent. We have a league sometimes run for 2-3 months, is squeezed for a longer number of time. The league is not there. But we've seen in recent times where most of the players who play for the Falcons are Euro-based. So it means they are playing regularly for their club side. So when you look away from that, what about the national team itself? I remember sometime in 17-18, the Falcons went for a whole calendar year without playing any football at all. They didn't have any coach before Thomas Enebi was appointed. Now, you know what that is going to do to a national team, where for a whole year there is no national team football, no friendly matches, no whatnot. Now, liking this scenario to England, who I feel in recent times have been one of the most progressed nations generally in football, alongside Netherlands. I think they've done pretty well with football development, where you see they're constant playing. Sometimes you see the English playing against Japan and USA in the She Believes Cup and whatnot. With the Super Falcons, we don't have anything like that. We only bring these girls together when there's a Nations Cup to be played or when we want to get together for a World Cup. Obviously, Nations Cup is a qualifier for a World Cup. So when the qualifier is coming up and when it's close to the World Cup, that's the time that we'll bring up these girls together to go play. But what happens in the period leading to that? You have to play friendly matches. These girls have to play with each other. They have to get used to play with each other. You don't just bring a bunch of people together. So I think that is a problem that the Super Eagles are facing, a lack of matches, and also, like I said, continuity with managers. Thomas Enebi came just when in 2018 took us to the World Cup, and now he's out of the way. The next manager comes, spent 1 year or one tournament, and again is out of the way. We cannot continue doing like that if we want the Super Falcons to grow.
Okay, Chinwenasi, you're muted and you're a woman.
Okay.
And obviously, some of these things may be more dear to you, so to speak. And I don't know, what are your thoughts generally concerning this? Do you agree with some of the things, or maybe most of the things that have been posited?
I know there are a lot of issues in especially the Falcons. Like one major one, despite the fact that the Falcons, they've brought so many glories to the land, but we can also say that these Falcons, the women team, they are more dependent on government funding than the men's team. Like, the Super Eagles, they've won, of course, 3 African titles. The female, they've won like 9 out of 11. But you still see the men receive more corporate sponsorship. There are more higher attendance at matches than that of the Falcons. So these are some issues, when you talk about this pay inequity, match bonuses, the Super Eagles receiving almost $5,000 per winning, for winning a match, and you see Falcons struggling with merely $2,000. I mean, these are, things that really bothers them so much. So by the time all these are being up, together, you see some of them, they will be smiling. So it's just, most times it's because of there are no funding for the Falcons. I think that is a major issue.
Okay, so Chinwe made mention of funding, and also she mentioned the equal pay, which has been dividing female football across the world. Samuel, I'll come to you after Shehu has spoken. I'll come to you concerning this equal pay dispute. So Shehu, your reaction to everything said so far?
When it comes to the Super Falcons, coaching is very key, very important that we get these coaching issues right. Then the Nigerian Football Federation too, they have a role to play when it comes to the Super Falcons. I want to say this: the Super Eagles are having more preferential treatment when you compare them to the Super Falcons team, because most of the wicket windows for the Super Eagles, they make use of it. But when it comes to the Super Falcons, they decide to just throw away their face. We have many international competition, many friendly matches. There is the Shield, the League, the Cyprus Cup. We only participated at this tournament preparatory to the World Cup. After the World Cup, and when Denelli left, everything just went to the trash can. The Nigerian Football Federation needs to do a lot. They need to focus on women football. Look at the success of the last World Cup in France. Women football is growing in leaps and bounds. And if Super Falcons and Nigeria did not brace up, we see other countries catching up with us. So NFF has a huge role to play, and by that they should start by getting the world-class coach for the Super Falcons. Really, if they can have a world-class coach, the coach can be able to champion top-grade friendly matches. We need to be playing with France, Germany, US, Netherlands, England to test our mettle, not just staying at not making use of these FIFA windows. That's my own thinking.
All right, thank you so much. We've dwelt a lot on the issues bedeviling or challenging our football. That's women football in Nigeria. But I think there are also good parts. There are moments that we all cherish. Like if you ask me today, Wilfred, which female or which women football moment do you remember the most? Two actually comes to mind. Prior to 1999, it used to be the 1998 performance at the African Women Cup of Nations, where Nigeria went 28 goals without conceding one. I mean, I wish it could continue like that. But the following year, that was at the World Cup, where Nigeria were trailing 3-0 against Brazil. And in the second half, Okosieme and Co came back for Nigeria, leveled 3-3. We went into extra time. I thought maybe what happened in Atlanta was about to happen again, but unfortunately, the Brazilians got the better of us to progress to the semifinals where they played. Was it Germany or US? One of them. Anyway, that is my fondest moment. Those two moments I mentioned, but I think the 99 one has overtaken the 1998 performance. I still remember that freshly. So maybe the guys should just share their fondest moment. Chinwe, you've been following female football for a while. Which one excites you the most?
Yeah. I think that of, was it 2004? The AFCON, African Women, is it AYC then? That's what they call it.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, when
AYC is for youths.
AWC.
Okay, sorry, AWC.
Yeah, it was AWC then. Yeah.
That of 2004. Then I know in the Super Eagles we always hear of Jejo Kocha, and the other female part was Perpetua and Kocha. So their performance then at the AWC was very awesome, especially the finals between Nigeria and Cameroon. That moment that a single player, that was Kocha, scored 4 goals in that final. I mean, that was 4 goals. I think that was a very, very good one. I can't forget. That was even the first year I started following female football very well, and I can't forget it. That's 2004 AWC.
All right, thank you so much. Sean, you want to share your moments?
Yes. My moment has to do with that 99 set. They achieved the unbelievable because they won their first game against South Korea. That will be the second game they will be winning. So they won that game. Then after taking the lead against USA, they took the lead against USA. USA now replied with 7-1. No one would have expected them that going to the final game against them, it will have dampened the spirit.
When we talk about our fondest memories with the Super Falcons, I think most of us, 99 years is that thing that rings in our head, because that's the first thing that comes to my head immediately. It was an amazing plethora of stars with that team. Talk about Messi, Akide, Mark Bemu was also good with that squad, and I think Ismail Amabo did a very, very good job with that team. This is a team who were in the same group as USA. They were also in the same group as Denmark, who had been to 2 quarterfinals back to back, and then we really had no chance. But coming into that tournament, we're very, very, high spirit and confident, having beaten China in a friendly game. But it felt like, okay, that was just a friendly. What were people going to the World Cup to do? But it was great to see how they did, despite that loss against USA in the second match after our beat North Korea, and still went on to the quarterfinals. It was amazing. I think that's great. And, just like Chinwe, the 2004 Nations Cup was good. Pepe Chankwacha was that player that anyone will enjoy seeing play. I don't think we've had a more little striker than her, maybe until recently with Assisat. She was still better than Assisat as a striker generally. And, when you see her done in number 4, she just reminded you of Kano, both number 4 players, very amazing players, and she was so great. So 99, 2004, those 2 tournaments were just amazing, but not to think about every other one. 2002 was also very, very good for me because of Pepe and Nkwacha. So I think the Falcons that created many memories for me, but out of these 3, it's all has to be 1999 because of Messi Akide.
All right, so Dami, go on.
Okay, so I mean, for me, I didn't watch the 1999 World Cup, but from what I've seen, from what I've heard, that definitely has to be one of the, if not the greatest performances by a Falcons team. There are a plethora of stars that people have already mentioned, the Florence Omagbemis, the Messi Akides, but I really liked 2004 Alcon. And when we talk about the Falcons, when we talk about the Nigerian women's national team, one of the first names that generally pops into your mind, especially if you're looking at this last decade that just passed, has to be Pepe Chankwacha. And at that particular tournament, she was absolutely phenomenal. Some of the displays that she had in that particular tournament made you begin to believe that, yes, that officially for me was when I realized that, yeah, this Falcons team had something extremely special. I know if you look at the other tournaments, the World Cup before that, 2003, and the one in 2007 were not too great. But the fact of the matter was, from that 2004 World Cup and Alcon rather, and it started a trend for her as we continued winning some of those things back to back. So that tournament in itself, when I cast my mind back at the Falcons, once you tell me Falcons, I remember the 2004 Alcon, I remember Pepe Chankwacha, I remember that amazing team, Precious Dede in goal, and it's absolutely amazing.
That's the first time Precious Dede is being mentioned, and before Precious Dede, there was Anne Chejine. How come none of us has mentioned Anne all along? But anyway, let me hear from Faith.
Well, for me, I've heard a lot about 1999 World Cup. I must be sincere, I didn't watch it. So talking about it is like talking about it based on what people said. So I would like to talk about the ones I've watched myself, I know I was a little bit younger, but I know I watched 2004 Alcon and also the Athens 2004 Olympic Games, I think beyond, the way our girls perform, I think they played good football then. And it goes to show you that when you have continuity in coaching crew, that you get results. Because Ismail Amambo was coach from 1999, to 2004, even though there was a break, I think, in 2002 where Sam Wood took over before he came back again to take them to the Olympics. Yeah, so for basically, I think that 2004 was also good, And the one I witnessed live, as much as it may not bring the kind of joy most Nigerians want, but the 2016 Alcon in Cameroon, my God, especially the final between Nigeria and Cameroon in Yaoundé. When I look at that game, I keep asking myself, is there any other country that can produce the kind of fans we saw in Yaoundé that very day? It was really amazing. This is the kind of support we're talking about women's football. The final where the president of the nation was their president. If we have a final in Nigeria, okay, let's not go there. But talking about
don't worry, let me say it. The stadium won't be full. Is that what you're trying?
So for me, so those two tournaments, I mean, it was nice. Sam he was also in Cameroon, so he knows the kind of the fans we saw there, the intimidating fans, and our girls were able to pull through. So I think this Niger spirit is always welcome wherever we go. So for me, 2004, 2016. I also watched 2011 World Cup with Mukere Uche. He played good football then. Well, if I'm to pick two, I'll go with 2004 and 2016.
Okay, so Sammy,
Me, I'm a JJC.
no more there. You are going to give us a encyclopedia now. Make it short, Abeg.
No, really, but realistically, I think, like you did said, the 1998 squad, though I didn't watch, but definitely from reviews and also from insights gotten, I think they really had their very good time. They were on one excellent side, like you did say earlier, scoring 28 goals, unreplied. And, looking at the quality of performance, again, that somehow show the continent and inroad to what women's football is going to be like at this moment. And I think looking away from that edition is also the Women's World Cup in 1999, where we last reached the quarterfinal. We first reached the quarterfinal. I think it was also a tournament to remember for Nigeria and also for the team. And I think, like Faye did said, most of this occasion we had coaching who were in place. We also had a very solid league producing a lot of players, and I don't know, occasions where we had all this going well for us.
Let's break our heads a little bit. We've been discussing various things, and honestly, it's been quite insightful. But let's just look at other things, or maybe one last thing. Lots of female greats in Nigeria. I wouldn't want to mention names right now, but there's a new school and there is the old school. The old school will tell you, I beg, come on to this new school. All of them be ajebo, see as they play, they are just after the money, having fun. They didn't see what we saw. But when we look at the performances, let me start with Chinwe. Of all the footballers you've seen, who is the greatest Super Falcons player?
Quite a difficult one. But like you said, I would still want to categorize it into that old school and
No. You have to pick one, whether old or new. Anyone, just pick one. Who is that person?
Okay.
You can add a goalkeeper if you wish.
I had wanted to go for Oshola because she's still young and she still has more. But okay, I think I'll choose Petra and Kocha. I mean, she was really great during her time. Yes, she was really great during her time with Falcons, winning 5 AWCs, almost like 4 Africa Women Player of the Year 4 times. And she won the AYC top scorer 3 times. So I mean, I don't know. She scored over 100 goals for both her club country. I mean, she's my best. Let me just.
Okay, so Perpetua it is for you. What about you, Sheung?
All right. This morning when I was ruminating on it, I wanted to use towards Oshoala. But looking at Oshoala, she still have a lot to cover. She scored 11 goals in 17 appearances. So when we now compare that with Petra and Kocha, who have scored 80 goals in 99 appearances of Super Falcons, I will go for Petra and Kocha for now until Oshoala reached that peak. Reached that level, scoring 80 goals for Super Falcons. Even Rashid Yekini, who scored for Super Eagles, scored at 7. Channel scored 80, so phenomenal. So I will go for Unkocha anytime, any day, until Oshoala get to that level of scoring more than 8 goals and also getting to that backdoor kick. I'm going for Unkocha.
Okay, so Damiloju.
Okay, so for me, it's a very difficult one. I have a number of names running through my head. I'm sure you've heard me mention some of those names. Ukocha has come up, Oshoala, Precious Dede left a real mark for me, especially in that 2004 tournament where she conceded just 2 goals and she kept 4 clean sheets. Mercy Akide But for me, when I look at it, like I said earlier, when I think of the Super Falcons, the first name that comes to my mind is Perpetua Nkocha. At that 2004 tournament, she scored in every single game, scored 9 goals. Someone already talked about how she had 80 goals in 99 appearances. She's won the African Women's Footballer of the Year 4 times. She's been top goal scorer in the competition 3 times. She's won the title 5 times. Here's what I will say. As we're speaking for this discussion today, it is Perpetua Nkocha, but Asisat is not far away. I think if you ask this question in a few years, Asisat will be able to overtake, but as of today, it is Perpetua Nkocha for me as the greatest Super Falcons player ever.
Okay, so Mr. Pio.
Yeah, I think, when you talk about this, 3 players jump into my head. Mercy Akide, who I feel a pioneer of the modern women's football in Nigeria. She was an amazing striker, raw power, pace, had a good eye for goal. And I think she's that player that drew the eye of the international world to Nigerian women football. Her performance at the 1999 World Cup and scholarship in US and also went there to play football in USA. And then you go down the line and talk about Perpetua, who,
even her girls, she said her girls are not playing for us. Oh, God. We've lost you, your audio. Hello? Hello? Okay, so I'll come back to you, Onome, because we've lost you. But Sam, now, Mo, hear you.
Man, do I really have much to say? I think Mr. Dami just really spoke through my mind, and I think he was just spot on. Yeah, for me, it's Perpetua. We definitely have a lot of football stars, legends to celebrate, but at the moment, I think she stands tall, very, very tall in Africa, I think, and that's why there's hardly anything CAF can do. She will always remain top. They will always contact her first. So that's to tell you the maximum respect she holds, and it's just quite difficult. You've seen anyone at the moment who has managed to eclipse that form and that success she had achieved. And transition between the old generation and the new generation, it's really a huge match.
Yeah, she was part of both generations.
Yeah.
Okay. Perpetua Nkocha, when you talk about national team performance, I don't think there's anyone you can look beyond that. She's been miles ahead of every other person that's put on the green and white for Nigeria and played. But club performance, not so well. Now, you might say Asisat. I understand why we think about Asisat, because I don't think there's anyone that's had as much success at club level as she has. But national team, she's still growing. She's still young. She's 25. She's not at that level that Nkocha was for the Super Falcons. But there's no Super Falcons player who has been able to match her performance at club level, because she's done so well, won leagues, and FA Cups and tournaments across different leagues. Imagine most recent one with Spain, won FA Cup with England. You might want to go to her because of the trophies that she's won. But if we're talking about the greatest Nigerian player, we'll have to look at what you've done for your national team. And the person that holds her head high above the rest is Perpetua Nkocha.
The greatest of all time. For me, I like to pick 2 or just one.
Let's hear the 2, but you have to pick one.
If I'm to pick 2, I'll go with Perpetua Nkocha and Mercy Akide.
Woo! Woo! Okay.
Yeah.
so of the 2, who is greater?
Oh my God. Both of them. The truth is that I didn't really watch Mercy well, but I remember she scored some fantastic goals, and also Perpetua scored great goals too. So if I'm looking at based on the person I followed and watched very well, honestly, I'll give it to Perpetua Nkocha. But if I'm to let it be, I'll just allow it to be both of them, Perpetua Nkocha and Mercy Akide. If you want to force out one from me, I'll go with Perpetua Nkocha.
Okay, so since everybody's going perpetual, as if that was mentioned occasionally. Hold on, sorry, Sam. Sam, you want to say something?
No, we are with you.
Okay.
We are perpetually perpetual.
I was honestly hoping Faith and Sam will be divided on this, but Sam just
no.
he reasoned it in like,
No,
you know what?
I don't want you guys to implicate me.
But obviously, I think Azizat is on that part. And to think that Azizat
definitely
started her career from the flanks, and she has played so well, especially at club level for Nigeria. She's the first name. I mean, whenever you talk about the Super Falcons at the moment. But obviously, for me, it's between Perpetua and Messi Akide. I think I should just talk about both players. For Akide, I liken her to Rashidi Yekini. Akide was that kind of person that even if the Super Falcons are one man down, you can still go to sleep. She has you covered going forward. She was like the strongest person in every Super Falcons game I remember watching. So, I mean, even against the opponent, she was bullish, scoring great goals. In that 1998 tournament, I think she scored 10 goals. I think it was more than 10. I can't remember again, but it was a lot of goals she was scoring for fun. Was it 10 or 14? I need to check again. More than no vex. So, again, I think she kind of revolutionized what we used to have and gave Nigerians confidence when it comes to female football. And in that 99 performance, Akide was right there at that World Cup. In 2014, she was also there. So when you look at some of the tournaments that have given us success or that we are all proud of, Akide's name has to be mentioned. Perpetua obviously won more accolades, but for me, no vex, so I'll still go with Akide.
That's fine.
That's fine. Break bottle.
Yes. No, that's fine. I think if there's anyone that comes second, so it has to be Akide.
Sure.
Okay, just notable mentions to the likes of Florence Omagbemi, Stella Mbachu, Kikelu Majayi,
Nkiro Koseme, Anche Ejine. Who else? There have been lots of them. Stella, what's her other name? Stella Madu, right? Yeah, Mbachu, thank you. Yeah, so we've had lots of them actually. And okay, so unanimous, Perpetua.
Yes, more Perpetua and maybe one Akide, which is you.
Okay, for me, it's still Akide.
5-1.
5-1. That sounds like a scoreline.
Yeah, proper scoreline.
Speaking of scorelines, Nigeria have been hammered 8-0. How many times? Like 3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
Of those 3, which was the worst, I beg? One of them was Germany. One was France. Which other one?
I think USA was 7-1.
USA was 7-1 in 91. In 99, rather. No.
99.
2000 and... Was it 99? 7-1.
99 USA.
99.
Yeah, that was 99.
Yes, 99.
Yes.
7-1. Okay, there's one I'm forgetting. France won.
95.
95. Thank you.
Nigeria now with 95. Yeah.
Thank you. 8-0. Hi. Now, wow. Anyway, reality is that we'll get better. But just to end this, Sammy, the way forward for Nigerian football. I mean, female now.
Oh, well, like you said earlier, the way forward for now, it's for me, we having the right structure in place that we shoulder the burden of the women's game and also cater for the development of it. And also, we also cater about the welfare of the players and also the coaches, the improvement of the coaching skills, and at least help us improve the quality of performance at all levels, at least, and also bringing back the grassroots competitions we've long had, and where we had most of our talented players back in this coming through the Principal Cup and quite a number of the youth one competitions, which we produce a lot of our talents.
Okay, and lastly, the Super Falcons don't have a coach at the moment. Should we go foreign or come back home?
Yeah, for me, I think on the matter of the who to coach the Super Falcons next, I think I'm not really keen about talking about whether foreign or local. But my interest is we having a plan, because it doesn't seem like we really have a plan to really help the team. We are keen about just bringing a coach, like filling the gap, but we are not planning for a long term. And I think that should be the priority, because you bring Thomas in 2 years, he leaves and almost won't see the next Nations Cup, and we won't be able to have another Ismail Amabo when we keep changing. You change coaches, you change players. It's natural. So if we are going for a local coach, it's fair we do that now. And when we do that now, the local coach takes us to the Nations Cup, be from there for the World Cup. And when we have that 2 years between now to 2023 or 2024, we know that a lot will have happened, a lot of improvements, a lot of transition will have been enjoyed. So if this doesn't happen, we will really miss it. And when we bring a foreign coach, can we sustain the tempo of keeping that foreign coach for another 4 years?
All right, thank you so much. I think it's been an insightful one, honestly, and I've really learned a lot, honestly. And I must say that female football in Nigeria will definitely get better than it is. Definitely. I like the fact that the women are going abroad, making good money for themselves. And at that point, when we get to that point, at least some of the challenges being experienced would have been overlooked. They'll get more experience also and probably win us laurels. So, but in all, I just want to say big shout out to us, for being part of this. Chinwe is at work. You would have noticed her environment. She go work small, She go look. We really see her. Oh yeah, now she dey show us her office. This one now CEO office. So thank you so much, Chinwe. Chinwe represents the Excellent Sports Fans Club, team for Oluwaseun Oyedeji. Thank you so much. Although Ruth was meant to be part of this, but she's also at work. Maybe she couldn't sneak out like Chinwe to be part of this. Sam, I know that by now, if I don't use this period, write like 3 articles. Yeah, but we honestly do appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Of course, my colleagues, Monome Appeal and Damiloju Sali. Those are the voices you hear on CTFM. Dami is the one always fighting me. One day I will break in glasses, go see road again. Then, but for Faith we've lost Faith, but there will be no need coming back, she coming back, because we're done. So thank you so much. Thank you.
City 1051 FM.